Welcome to the second part of basics of C programming. Okay, today we are going to see complete structure of the C program. We can see at the right side we have a wonderful representation of our structure of C programming. We can see first section we have a declaration section, second one we have a link section, third one we have a definition section, fourth one we have a global declaration section, and then we have very important part which is called main function section. After that we have a subprogram section, or it is also called as a user defined function. Okay, so first we will see the first section, that is called documentation section. So if I want to give some information to my program, so I will be giving in the documentation section. You can see very simply. So this is the example which gives the information to our program. Okay, it was written in the starting of our program with a slash star, which indicates some comment or some information was given to the program to calculate area of the circle. So that means we are giving what is the program and who is the author when it was created. So some information we are giving in the documentation section of the C program. So that means it can give comment. Okay, gives comments, and it will be not executed or compiled by the compiler. So it will, whatever we written the comment or whatever we written in the documentation section, that will be ignored by the compiler. Okay, it will not executed by the compiler. Okay, so this information is given for to understand our program. That's it. Next we have a link section. The name itself indicates linking. So if you see in C programming, in upcoming classes we will frequently using printf and scanf. So printf we will be calling as a standard output function. If you see scanf, it is called as a standard input function. Okay, uh, these functions will have a separate code. So if we want to use this one, we need to write code, but it is lengthy or it is very robust to write the a code to use printf and scanf. For that reason, these was included in the standard input output header files. Okay, you can clearly see we have a stdio.h, which indicates standard input output header files. So these header files contains this printf, scanf, and many input output functions are already defined in the header files, which with have a extension is .h. Our C program we have a extension is .c, but header file have a extension is .h. It includes these functions. So what we are doing, so we'll be using already predefined functions which is already available in some file or header file, that we are linking into our program in the link section. Okay, to link these header files we'll be using a standard syntax which is nothing but hash include. So if I want to include standard input output header files, I will be writing hash include, okay, less than stdio dot h greater than symbol. So this is the syntax to include your standard input output header files. Okay, similarly, if I want to use some mathematical already defined expression, examples we have a square root. Okay, I want to use this square root which is already defined in the mathematical function header file, that is nothing but math.h. So again I can simply write as a syntax hash include less than math.h. This allows me to use the square root function in the uh, in our program. Okay, so this is about your link section. Next we'll have a definition section. You can see that third section is a definition section. The name itself indicates we are defining something. Suppose I will be having 3.14159 value I want to use in main function in many times. Then what I will try to do, uh, suppose it is a 1 2 3 4 5 decimals will be there. If I have a many decimals, what happen if I have a many example 1000 decimals I will have. If I want to type these value 10 to 50 times in my main function, the program is very robust and it is not convenient to write those type of values in the main function. To avoid that one, what you are doing, we are simply defining or assigning 3.14159 value to the pi with the help of a syntax hash define. That means already said it is a definition section. We are defining the 3.14159 value to the pi variable. Okay, similarly I want to use the 100 value. Okay, so 100 value, so what I try to do, I will I will be assigning this 100 value into the max variable. So I can use wherever I want, I can use the max variable. Okay, or max the word in my main function for my calculation. So this is the definition section, which is very helpful because we are need not to repeatedly enter these values. Okay, next we'll have a global declaration section. Here you can see whatever we are defining before main function, that means whatever variables we are assigning, whatever the function prototypes will be defining, those if you are defining before main functions, those are called global variables and function prototypes. Okay, you can see here integer count, float total. Count is a integer which was defined, but it is not defined in the main function. It was defined before the main function. So for that reason, the count and total will be calling as a global variable. Similarly, the function prototype, so this display will be defining as a void type, that also we are defining before the main function, so we'll call it as a function prototypes. Okay, these global variables and function prototypes we can use in the main function, or we can use in the sub program. Wherever we want, we can use these global variables and function prototypes. Then the important part is called the main function. You can see the main function which have a syntax which was started with the main open braces. You can see this is the main function which was started. So the main function was defined as a integer type. Here we have a two parts. One is declaration part and another one we have a executable statement, and always it will ends with a return statement. Okay, you can see main function will have a declaration part and a executable part. Okay, we will see what is the declaration part, what is the execution part. Now you can see declaration part is nothing but here we are declaring our variables. You can see integer a, b, sum, these are the variables we are defining within the main function, so we'll be calling as a local variable. But you see the variables which are defined before main functions will be calling as a global variable, whereas the variables which are defined within the main functions will be calling as a local variables. Okay, we'll be assigning uh, 10 value to the variable a, 20 value to the variable b, and we are doing some executable part. You can say sum equal to a plus b, so we'll be using some logic operation to add a plus b variable, and we are storing that one into sum variable. Okay, so and we are printing this sum value in the with the help of printf statement. I already said printf is the standard output function which will be incorporating when we defined hash include stdio.h in the link section before the main. Okay. So this is about your main function. So try to remember main function will have mainly declaration part and executable part. Executable part will have a statements and logic. Okay. Now, after that we'll have a next section is called subprogram section, or it is also called as a user defined function. Here we can define as many functions as we can. Okay, so these are the subprograms which are helpful, because if I write all the required things in the main function, it will become robust. To avoid that one, we will be writing some part or subprogram in the user defined function, and will be calling this functions in the main. Okay, we can see in next slide we'll understand very clearly. You can see we'll be defining a display, a subprogram which prints welcome to the C programming. So which was defined outside your main function, so we'll be calling as a subprogram section. If we clearly visualize this one, before actually we defined void display, it is the function prototype we already defined before the main function, and after the main function we will be writing the our subprogram as a void display, and it gives you welcome to C programming, and we'll be calling display open braces semicolon in the main program, such that it will calls the subprogram. So whatever it gives output, that will be that that will can execute in the main function. We will understand very in detail with the help of this example. We can see, so the first part I already said, which is nothing but documentation section. So where we are giving some information or some comment to our program in this section. The next one I already said, hash include stdio.h, which includes our standard input output header files. Okay, it is called link section. Then we have a definition section where we are defining so the pi value here. Then I already said it is our global variables. Okay, global declaration where we have a radius is a global variable, area is a global variable, and we are defining some function prototype which is nothing but calculate, which is a void type. We are defining it here. Then we have a main program. In main program you can see always it was started with a main, so the type is a integer, so it is a local variable, and you can see we are calling the subprogram calculate, we are calling it here. The subprogram was defined after the main function. What it is doing, it is calculating area. You can see area, it is not defined in the main program. That means it is not a local variable. Area is a defined in the global declaration, so it is the global variable. And pi, so pi is not there in the main function. We can see the pi is defined in the definition section, so the pi value will be taken at here, and radius which is in the main function and will be obtaining the area value, and the calculate gives you area value, will be printing the area at here. Okay, so you can see this is a very simple C programming for our better understanding.